Well, I bet a lot of you were wondering what kind of balls we have. And so there you have it. They're beach balls. It's literal and it's very PG-13. We're very excited this morning to share with you our latest research and numbers on the global wellness economy. This is the 9th year that Katherine and I did a piece of research for the summit. We started back in New York in the summit of 2008 when we helped to define what is a spa and measure the size of the global spa economy. And since then, the summit has evolved and grown, and so our research has grown with it. Over the years, we have expanded our research to wellness tourism, minerals and hot springs, and more recently, workplace wellness. The event is now called the Global Wellness Summit, and so appropriately, we're now focusing on the entire wellness economy. We first introduced this concept of wellness economy 2 years ago, at the summit 2 years ago. But before I give you updated numbers, we want to visit some definition to talk about what it actually is, and I want to start with the term wellness, which is sometimes confusing because people always ask, what's the difference between wellness and health, wellness and well-being, and even happiness? And it doesn't help that wellness is English, and so it doesn't have an equivalent in many languages. I don't think it has an equivalent in German. I know definitely no equivalents in Chinese. So we're not going to be able to settle all those differences today. But for the purpose of measuring what is a global wellness economy, we're going to define wellness as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyle that lead to a state of holistic health. Which means as people, as consumers, we have to be active in making choices, in doing something. So you can think of wellness as a verb. Wellness is about action. So that's how we want to distinguish that from being in a state of good health, a state of well-being, or a state of happiness. So once we got the definition of wellness down, when we look at the wellness economy, we're talking about the industries that enable consumers to make choices and do things that to pursue their own wellness lifestyle. And since the day of just studying the spa economy, we have now included 10 industries. So that's 9 more compared to from the beginning. And that's a lot of numbers and a lot of balls to juggle. So today, we're going to invite some friends up here to help us to carry the burden, hold some of these balls for us. And together, we are going to show you how big and diverse the wellness economy is, and we'll process what it means. So are you ready, Katherine?
Yep. I would like to invite Andrew Gibson up to the stage to start us out with the spa industry, since that's where we all started 10 years ago. And Andrew, Ophelia has a ball for you.
It's not that big.
Sorry, you don't get the big one.
He wanted a bigger one.
Sorry, you don't get to choose your balls.
You don't get to choose the size.
So, of course, Andrew heads up the spas for Fairmont Raffles, and he's been around at the summit since the very beginning, so he's a great representative for this sector. Let's look at how big it is. So we now estimate that the spa industry is $99 billion. It's big.
Yeah, well, sure.
This, of course, includes the spa facilities themselves, but it also includes all of the complementary industries that go along with spas. So things like spa consulting, education, media, associations, events, and capital investment. All that rolls up into this $99 billion number. We estimate that there are now over 121,000 spas operating all around the world, and those spas employ 2.1 million people. So next, I'd like to invite Robert Ramsey to the stage. Robert is the CEO of Cluster Wellness Tyrol. And since, we're here in Tyrol, and this
Look how happy he is. competition.
So, as Susie mentioned earlier, Tyrol and Austria have been really pioneers in the wellness tourism field, and they've been doing this for a couple of decades and have been thinking about it for a lot longer than most people in most regions. So we think Robert's a great representative for this. So how big is wellness tourism? Well, we estimate $563 billion last year, which you can see on the slide if it will change there. This industry employs or generates about 18 million jobs around the world. We estimated that there were 691 million wellness trips taken around the world last year, and that includes both domestic and international travel. And that's about 100 million more trips than were taken just 2 years before that. Wellness tourism continues to grow faster than general tourism. And of course, all of us here at the summit are tourists this week. We're here on business because we've come to attend this conference. But I'm guessing that most or all of us will probably try to do some wellness activities while we're here. Tomorrow we'll be up on the mountain doing some outdoor wellness experiences. Some of us might try to have healthy food while we're here, might enjoy a spa treatment at one of the hotels. So that is the very definition of secondary wellness travel. And so all of us have added 500 new wellness trips to this region just this week. Next, I'd like to move on to the thermal and mineral springs industry, and I'd like to invite Marion Schneider to come to the stage.
Small but beautiful.
For those of you who don't know Marion, she's with Toscana World in Germany, and they're well known for their innovations with thermal bathing, so things like liquid sound. Of course, you can see that this is one of our smaller balls, but it's not a particularly small industry. This was $51 billion last year, and over 27,000 thermal and mineral springs establishments around the world, employing about 1.4 million people. And among those 27,000, about 7,000 of those offer some kind of complimentary spa treatments. And those establishments tend to have higher than average revenues, and so that portion actually accounts for over 60% of that $51 billion in revenues. Next, we have Renee Moorfield with Wisdom Works, and she's coming to represent workplace wellness. And Renee is both a practitioner and a scholar in this field. As you may remember from our talk last year, workplace wellness is an industry that provides services and programs and activities to employees in their workplaces to help them stay more healthy. As you can see, another small ball. This is actually our smallest industry, estimated at $43 million last year. The US is more than half of this market, and the reason for that is because in the United States, it's the employers who pay usually for people's health care and their insurance. And so they have the most incentive to spend a lot of money in this area to keep their employees more well and to reduce their medical costs. There we go. Next, we have wellness real estate. I'd like to invite Steve Nygren to the stage. Come, Steve. For those of you who don't know Steve, Steve is the visionary behind the iconic wellness community of Serenbe, which is located in Georgia in the southeastern United States. It's a little bit bigger ball. This is a pretty big industry already. We estimate it at $119 billion. And this is pretty big already, but we believe this is really just the tip of the iceberg for this industry. As more and more people work and try to make their homes and their communities more healthy and more well, this industry has huge growth potential. And as you'll be hearing in the next couple days, this is going to be a topic for much more research to come next year. There it goes.
So our 5 friends on stage here, and the balls are holding, they represent the 5 industries that we at the Global Wellness Institute have focused more of our research. So the numbers you see here are the original estimates that come directly from our research. But in addition to these 5, there are 5 other industries, very important industries included in the wellness economy. So the numbers we're going to present to you now, they're aggregated from other industry sources. So can I? My notes. Oh. first, I'd like to invite Dr. Stossier up here, Harold Stossier. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get Mark. To represent the complementary and alternative medicine sector. Oh, late but not never. Dr. Stossier is the medical director of Viva Meyer. Here you go. Thank you. So next is next, I'd like to invite Wendy Basilovich to represent the. Oops.
We have a lot of balls we're juggling here.
Yeah, okay. It's the fitness and mind-body industry. As you see, the balls are getting bigger because this is a much bigger industry. It's over $500 million and is one of the fastest growing wellness sectors. Equally big is a preventive and personalized medicine sector, and I'd like to invite Dr. Imke Kurnik. So this is another $500 million industry. Next up is an even bigger one, is an industry that is more than $600 billion, and that's healthy eating, nutrition, and weight loss. And I'd like to invite Stephanie Moore up here to represent it. And Stephanie is a clinical nutritionist and the official nutritionist for the summit. So all the healthy food you're eating here, you have to thank her. Yep. Last, and we'll come to the last and our largest ball. And can somebody take a guess what it is? Beauty and anti-aging. So I'd like to invite Kirsten Florian up here. It's hard to hold this one. Yay! So this is a massive ball because this is a $1 trillion industry. And as we know, we all use beauty products. So now it's very exciting. We have the whole wellness economy on stage. And you can see how diverse it is, how many industries it represents, and also get a sense of their relative size from the smaller ones, beautiful small ones, about 40 billion, to the $1 trillion industry. But more importantly, we want to recognize how interconnected we all are, and all of you are in the audience, and that's why we have all gathered here at the Global Wellness Summit.
So as you can see, we add up all these balls, we have a $3.7 trillion global wellness economy. To put that number into perspective, this is about 5% of global economic output, and it's about half of global health expenditures each year. Over the last 2 years, the global GDP shrank by about 3.5% when measured in US dollars. At the same time, over that period, 2013 to 2015, the global wellness industry grew by over 10%. So why is wellness growing so quickly and so steadily, even in the midst of such an economic slow period and economic decline? Well, we see 3 reasons for this, which I'd like to talk about just briefly. The first is economic. As prosperity continues to rise around the world, as the middle class grows, there are more and more people who have money to spend on improving their quality of life and their lifestyles, and that includes spending more on wellness products and services. The second reason is kind of a negative one, well, a very negative one actually, our health. As we all know, chronic disease is increasing around the world. Populations are aging, especially in the Western world and in East Asia. And of course, our medical costs continue to rise at an alarming rate. So it's really no surprise with all those things happening that consumers and also governments and businesses are wanting to focus more and spend more on healthier lifestyles and prevention. Third, and this is a trend that we're really just at the beginning stages of, but this is a shift in our collective consciousness. We all have a growing need for deeper connection, and that's connections to nature, to other people, to our communities, and to things that are meaningful and authentic. And so this trend is really deepening and broadening the meaning of what wellness is. And this is increasingly going to affect how we as consumers and as people make decisions about our lifestyles and about how we spend our money.
So, where is this going? What does the future of the wellness economy look like? I think we need a crystal ball. And who's a better person but Edie Weiner, who is our official futurist? Okay.
Ophelia, I have a secret to tell you.
Okay.
I've been carrying this around for almost 50 years, and it's great to get it off my chest. And it should be bigger than every other ball on the stage because the future is going to be bigger than all of these combined.
Yeah. Thank you, Edie. So,
Do you know how to use that?
do we spin it or shake it or throw it?
Well, let's see. And
So-
you know, I bet that all of you thought that since we're economists, we do really heavy-duty research, but now the secret's out. It's really just crystal ball gazing behind these numbers. So don't tell anyone. But let me take a look at the future. If we're just talking about growth rates, we predict that the wellness economy and most or all of these wellness sectors are going to continue to be growing faster than global GDP. For all the reasons that I talked about a minute ago. And we think that that growth trajectory is going to be resilient to short-term economic cycles and to geopolitical disruptions. So, I could stand up here for a few more minutes and give you lots more numbers. I could say we think spa is going to grow by 6% every year the next few years, and wellness tourism is going to grow 60% faster than GDP. You'll get all those numbers when our report comes out. So, we think it's kind of limiting if we just think about the future in terms of incremental growth rates on industry revenues. We really want to take a few minutes to think more broadly about what the future might look like. We predict, and we see already happening, a major shift in how we think about wellness. And that's a change from thinking about wellness as something that's extra, a luxury, discretionary spending, and really moving toward thinking about it as something that we integrate proactively into the core parts of our daily life. So with that in mind, we want to think about what's the future for wellness in the places that we still don't necessarily associate with wellness, and that is our workplaces and where we live. Because I would imagine that most of us probably spend about 20 hours out of every day either in our work or in our homes or communities. Those spheres of our lives have an enormous influence on how we feel. I would guess that for many of us, it's our work and our home that are probably making us feel unhealthy and unwell in many ways. So let's take another look at Renee's ball for workplace wellness. Renee, show us your ball. It's the little one. Again, remember this was a $43 billion market. This is really small if you consider that it only covers about 10% of the world's workers who actually get some kind of workplace wellness programs or services. And among those 10%, their employees, we average it out that they're spending about $142 per person per year on wellness. That's tiny. We spend trillions and trillions of dollars on medical care. And if you remember our research last year, we estimated that we lose 10 to 15% of global GDP because of unwell workers and disengaged workers. So we need to do much better here. Let's think small to start out with. What if every employer that's already spending on workplace wellness doubles that to $300 per year? That ball is going to double by the next summit very easily. You can see what that would look like. So how about we start covering more than 10% of the world's workers, or we start thinking more holistically about creating well workplaces? Think how much faster that ball is going to grow. Let's take another quick look at our homes and our communities, the places where we live. These are so important. It's where we eat, we sleep, we rest, we entertain our friends and family, we raise our children. It's such an important part of our lives. We think the home is the next emerging frontier for wellness. Homes are the largest investment decisions that most of us will make in our lives. Around the world, consumers, out of all consumer expenditures, about 20% of those expenditures every year are on our homes, on rentals, mortgages, and keeping up our homes. Again, that's trillions of dollars spent every year in this market. So let's imagine if just a small portion of those consumers start shifting their preferences toward homes that are built and designed with wellness and healthy living in mind. This ball that Steve is holding over here, this $119 billion market, is going to start growing by multiples.
Oh, how about this ball?
And remember, the real estate market is massive, massive, trillions of dollars. So over time, that ball can and should be bigger than this one, easily. So here you have it. You see these balls. We have the global wellness economy up on stage and all of our helpers to help us out with it. And at this point, I'd like to ask all of you to put your balls in this box to let us visualize what that economy looks like all together.
Okay, then you can exit the stage.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And of course,
Okay, we're gonna go this one.
let's remember, it's not just our helpers here on stage, but it's all of you here in the audience that are really part of this dynamic, this diverse, this growing and really resilient global wellness economy. And so the ball is in your court to really take this industry to the next level, and let's see this continue to grow in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.